I finally started booking appointments with myself, and here's what changed.
Hey you guys, I just got my podcast up on Apple Podcasts. It would mean so much to me if you could go give me a follow and write a review. Thank you so much and enjoy the episode.
Hey you guys, welcome back to the Magness Magness Podcast. My name is Jonah Magness and I own and operate martial arts studios, and I've been able to help some of my friends with their studios, and I'd love to help you out too, so let's talk about it. Today I'm going to go over the 2 key benefits that I've seen with finally starting to book appointments with myself in my calendar and what's changed for me. Prior to doing this, what I would normally do is I would just try and find the gaps in my calendar to work little chunks at a time and fit that just into my entire week, hopefully trying to make progress on my bigger goals, whether that be for the studio or for myself and growing my other side hustles or side businesses or whatever it is, my next passion project. And I would just do that in the free gaps within my calendar. What this would look like is doing anywhere from 5 to 30-minute chunks of work at a time. And what was getting hard is the transition time between my task 1, task 2, showering, working out, or making breakfast and then sitting down right before I have to write all my emails. Oh, I got 5-10 minutes before I have to start that, or before I have to jump on this meeting, before I have to go into the studio. Let me work on this thing to help push the studio. Let me work on the event flyer. Let me work on planning events. Let me work on pushing and writing scripts for YouTube or whatever it was. And that always just got pushed to the side so easily, because if I only had 10 minutes, maybe it would take me 5 minutes to even go get my laptop, pull it out. Oh, my laptop's almost dead. Let me plug it in. All right, now I only got 7 minutes of the 10 to work on something. I open it up, I get it on. I have everything open, I'm ready to go. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I only got 5 minutes till I start. So let me just, and then I feel that cram, that rush. It really pushes down on my creativity or anything that I was trying to work on. It demotivated me. So it got a lot easier just to push it to the side or let it fall short until I started falling behind. And that made it so I always was just cramming it in at the end of the week, especially for trying to just get the main stuff done that maybe I can't just do while classes are going on and having to answer parent questions and everything like that. So it was really delaying the growth of the business, and I was sustaining it, but it wasn't going boom, it wasn't exploding, it wasn't getting better, it wasn't getting bigger, my staff wasn't improving, and it was all just falling short because I wasn't setting aside dedicated time to grow past, to give myself the time for that deep work. And I use that term deep work because of the book Deep Work by Cal Newport. He and so many other people that I consume their content and listen to for business advice and just productivity and everything else under the sun all talk about this concept of booking time with yourself. I never miss appointments, and you probably don't either. You always do the follow-up process for your appointments and everything else. So we have a lot of value in appointments as small business owners. So we want to make sure we block off times for ourselves and treat that just like you would any other appointment, and use that time to go that extra mile, that extra level, and have that deep work. And so we're going to talk about how I do it and what my process is. The biggest thing for me is making it hard to get distracted, making it hard to get out of flow. And how I do that is a couple of different things. I start by looking at my next week or 2 weeks at a time, and I see where the bigger gaps are of like 1 hour minimum to ideally like 3-4 hours that I can just block off and put that into my calendar, so I'll get the reminder when that time's coming up. And honestly, now I get excited when I get that alert of I see when I can do my deep work sessions, and I know how much I'm going to be able to get done. We'll talk more about that when I talk about the benefits. But yeah, when I'm looking out at my schedule, I see where my meetings are. I know when I have to be in the studio. I know when my lessons are and everything like that. So then I just pick my chunks around that time. And what I'm usually getting is roughly 2 to 4, like 2-hour chunks in. On a really good week, I have a bunch of like big blocks open because my schedule just worked out that way, where maybe like I have a majority of mornings open, or I have a majority of afternoons right before I go in open. And those are awesome because then I can just get a bunch chunked away at a time. Normally it's closer on that end of like maybe twice a week I can work on different things for that 2 hours straight, which is still awesome. Now what works for me when I sit down for these blocks? 1, I have to have caffeine. I make sure I have my caffeine ready and I get it all prepared, so that way my brain's gonna be alert and I'm gonna be stimulated. I put all of my devices, from my desktop at home to my work computer to my watch to my phone, all on Do Not Disturb. I don't let anybody have access to me during this time, and that is just something that's super important. And if I know it's gonna be more along the lines of like a 4-hour block, then I'll let a couple people know. Like I'll let one of the co-owners know, or like my staff or something like that I'm not gonna be available to be reached out to or contacted during this time. The other thing I do is I have my headphones in, and I usually choose like a movie score or something like that, because I don't like having words, or else I get distracted by the words, then I start singing along to the song and it just breaks my flow. So I choose stuff without words that I know I can just let like zone out to the background of my head. And that works really well for me in terms of like controlling the audio inputs into my head. The other thing I do that's a little bit funky to some people is I like working in pretty like consolidated darkness other than my like screen lights, and say what you will about how it's bad for my eyes and whatever, but it works for me. So I shut my window, my lights are usually off. Maybe I'll have like a red light on or something like that. But even if it's 10 a.m. in the morning, I'll keep my room as dark as possible. So when I'm working, I'm just focused on just the one task. Here's the two key benefits that I've seen so far. One is the consistency. I've been able to be so much more consistent because I'm pulling out these time blocks instead of looking for the gaps on the regular day-to-day basis, or in the moment. I'm like, oh shoot, I can start working on it now. I have it built into my schedule with reminders and alerts like one day out, hours before, 30 minutes before, so I can prepare for it just like I would prepare for any other meeting, which is awesome. And that consistency has led to more growth overall, which has been fantastic. And it really allows me to not only help my current business grow, but it helps me get onto that next business, that next thing that I'm trying to push and grow with. The other benefit that I've seen is the incredible return on investment for my time. It's not one-to-one, like I would work 30 minutes, I get 30 minutes of progress, and then all of a sudden now I can work an hour, 2 hours at a time, and I get 4 times the improvement. It's more like now I work for 2 hours straight, and I see like 10 times the improvement on everything, which is so nice for getting stuff done with the studio. Usually that's what my first time chunk is dedicated to during the week, whether it happens on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, or Saturday or Sunday. Whenever that first chunk comes up, I usually use that towards the studio, make sure the business eats first, and then the second time chunk I have during the week helps me push my own goals and dreams outside of the studio, which is fantastic. And my return on investment for both those things is just exponentially growing with the more consistent blocks and the larger time chunks, because I get into that deep work state. And once you get into that flow state, you can just keep on going so easily. And my productivity skyrocketed when I started giving myself more time without the setup process and everything like that, because I have those alerts and reminders built in. So I start setting up and preparing for it before that timer even starts. And it makes it really easy to get so much more done than I was doing in those little time chunks, even when I maybe might have been getting more minutes during the week available to me. I wasn't producing more minutes worth of benefit because of the in and out transition time. This process really changed a lot for me, and it took me way too long to start doing it with all of the advice I was getting from friends and just anybody that I was consuming the Cal Newport's book or any other media I was consuming that would talk about this. And I really just hope that you start it one day earlier by watching this video. Like and subscribe for more, and I'd love to help you out with your business. You just let me know down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.